In this episode of Our American Republic, we will discuss what it means to be a citizen in the United States of America. Up until the end of the American Revolution, American colonists were royal subjects. As subjects, their will was often ignored by both king and parliament in Great Britain. The colonists' victory in 1783 meant that Americans should never again be subjects to another person's rule. America's governments would be ruled by laws, not men. And although it took another 80 years for Americans to outlaw slavery, the basic concepts had been established to allow us to protect the lives, liberty, and property of all American citizens. So what is it exactly that separates citizens from subjects? Throughout human history, there have been lords and subjects. Whether a lord was called chieftain, master, king, emperor, Caesar, or dictator, that leader and those in his favor were afforded privileges unavailable to the rest of his subjects. Lords ruled freely, by exerting their will at the expense of their people, and although some republics and democracies had existed prior to 1789, all of them had collapsed in time of crisis under rule of lords, men who rarely if ever relinquished their sovereign powers. John Locke did not believe the relationship between subject and lord, or slave and master, was sustainable. He believed that the relationship between a human subjugated to the will of another existed in a state of conflict. This conflict exists because so-called lords manipulate their subjects for personal use despite the subjects' inherent rights to liberty. The founders agreed. Believing that servitude to a sovereign would not allow Americans to exercise the full extent of their lives, liberty, and property, the founders designed the Constitution so that no person could rule over law-abiding American citizens. All persons and all bodies of government in the United States would be accountable to constitutional law, and not the arbitrary rule of a government or another person. These ideas were solidified by the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which abolished slavery, ensured equal treatment of all citizens under the law, and guaranteed the right to vote, regardless of skin color. The Constitution mandates that there will be no subjects or slaves in the United States, only citizens and non-citizens, and although non-citizens will not hold the civil rights or privileges of American citizens, all will enjoy their human rights. Citizens hold significant power in our American system and are accountable only to constitutional laws made by their elected representatives. Endowed with great responsibility, American citizens vote, exercise property rights, defend themselves from harm, serve on juries, and sit as equals in courts of law. Americans can choose to be free. What rights do American citizens exercise that people outside this country do not? Has the role of citizen been diminished over the past 200 years? How can citizens resist the threat of subjugation?